Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Wednesday, December 17th. We're going to take a look at the market like we usually do, and on Wednesday we look at the international indices and three Chinese stocks today: BIDU, CTRP, and SINA. All right, let's start off here with the Dow Industrials, which was up 288 points today. Wow. And, you know, after being down, 3 days in a row, up today, and yes, my puts did get slammed, but we're not stopped out on, I don't know, any of them, I don't think. And we have grabbed profit on one of the trade ideas. So anyway, we'll see what happens here. This is really getting interesting. Now, let me step back here. Okay, so this was a big, huge move. Actually, what's interesting is that this entire trading is inside yesterday's action when the Dow was down like 112 points. Okay, so the range was so broad yesterday and so volatile that we're actually inside that trading range. So if you think we're reversing, we don't know that yet. Okay, look at this bar over here. Look at this bar right here. I mean, there are sharp rallies in bear moves. Okay, matter of fact, bear market rallies are classic, very sharp, sudden. Why? Because you panic the short sellers, people who are sold short the stock, and they have to cover because, well, for whatever reason, and they're panicking, you know, and they're covering. And so they're buying back. They have to buy the shares back and replace it. So that drives a lot of this sometimes. So anyway, interesting point. Just kind of watching this in here right now. I mean, we'll see. I mean, this could be the end of a pullback, but, you know, it hasn't told us that that's the case yet. S&P 500, similar type scenario. Okay. You know, let me look at this. Okay. Almost identical, actually. NASDAQ, similar type thing in terms of the move. A little bit to the outside. We can actually close maybe above yesterday's high 45, 46, 45. No, didn't close above it, but we're right there. So anyway, big moves, similar to the big moves that we saw back here in September or early October. Let's see, Russell 2000. This had big moves. Again, I mean, look at the big move it had here on December 9th to the upside. No follow through. Big move today. Are we going to get follow through? We'll find out tomorrow. You know, you just don't know for sure. You know, looks like it might be breaking a little trend line here on the RSI. That could be an indication that it's, you know, going to move to the high side. DI plus is still above, or DI minus is still above DI plus. All right, so those are the four indices we're going to take a look at tonight because we got a lot to look at. We're going to look at short-term trading index. Okay, look how the low reading, very bullish. Of course, you know, it doesn't surprise me. We're up 200 and some points, almost 300 points today. And of course, market really took off after the Fed. Everybody's waiting for the Fed, and you know, whether they changed one word or two words, I mean, who knows? I mean, it's just, honestly, you really got to wonder about some of that sometimes. But anyway, we've got the 10-day moving average of this moving back into the middle of the range here. The VIX pulled back naturally, which is what you would expect to happen on a day like today. There's not a whole lot more to say about that. I mean, it's still in an uptrend, but a big down bar. High-low index. I know I've got it. There it is. Okay, this snapped back, but we still had 44 more new lows for the day than new highs. So it was net negative on the day when we had almost 300 points up. What was that again? 288. Okay. So, you know, we're snapping back. We didn't get quite as deep as we got back here in October. So it kind of makes me wonder, are we really done? You know, is it one of these where you snap back like in here as a part of the down move? You notice how you're just getting the 21 crossing below the zero here. You just got that happen right before you got this little snapback. I don't know. I mean, it's just, you start to look at stuff like that and you just, okay, that's, you just kind of log that one away. All right, let's see. High, low. I think that's it on the indicators. The put to call is not giving any reading. It's still not in any kind of extreme one way or the other, which is interesting given all the action that we've had. All right, I want to jump in and look at the German DAX. All right, so the German DAX was up, no, it was down 19 today. It was up yesterday. Big move here, potential reversal type bar. But again, these reversal type bars are only valid if you get follow through, okay? So you had huge down. You got moving averages crossing here on the DAX. So, sometimes what happens is you get these moving averages cross. You see this a lot of times. Sometimes it'll cross and it'll just stay below the 10 and it'll just ride on down. Sometimes it'll cross and it'll jump back up above the 10 a little bit and give you a little like it's trying to counter trend, kind of rally, and then it'll roll over. Okay, so you just gotta, never, you're never going to have situations that are identical, is what I'm trying to say. So we'll just have to watch and see. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention about Russia is this is the index I've been showing. Okay, this is the Russia MISEX index. Now, there are two exchanges that merged in Russia. There's a MISEX and then the RTS, which is Russia Trading System, I think. So the two of those exchanges merged a few years ago, I think like 3 years ago. And I had been following this Russia MISEX index. Well, it's interesting. This is denominated in rubles, okay? Well, what I've learned, and again, you're always learning something in here, but you can see how you had this big sell-off in 2008, 2009 when all the markets were crashing around the world. It came back, and now it's held sideways, all right? So this is denominated in the ruble. The index that I think is really considered to be the measure of Russia is the RTSI index, okay? And this is what the RTSI index is doing. And this is measured in US dollars, okay? You can see how it is collapsing, and this makes more sense to what's going on with the Russian economy, the impact of the ruble dropping, all of that. This is more of a real picture of the scenario for Russia, okay? And so this is going to be the one I'm going to be referring to ongoing. I'm not going to be referring to the MISEX index. And if you look back here, remember how the MISEX index, it did this. Look at this huge move it had in Russia, okay? From like down 56 to 2,500 in, to 9 years. That's one heck of a move. And then they lost 80% in the 2008 financial crisis, bounced back from 500 to a little over 2,000. And then here's where the disconnects happen between the Russian, the RTSI and the MISEX index. If we go back to the MISEX index, and let me go all the way out, you can see how it's gone sideways, okay, since this point. But if you go back to the RTSI, it's rolled over, it's sloped down, and then it's collapsed. And what's really interesting in here is that we're really back down the low 600. It almost got to that point of, the down here traded around 500. So here we are, 718 is where our close is today. We're right down here, okay? That's a pretty dramatic sell-off in the Russian stock market. Okay, let's take a look at India. There we go. So India's been pulling back the last 2 weeks. Last time we looked at it was December 3rd, right here. No, I guess we looked at it 2 weeks ago. I mean, a week ago, sorry. So the 10th. It's continued to just slope off during the last week. I thought that we might get a pullback. I thought we might have an intermediate wave 4 pulling back here, and sure enough, we are. So the real, we'll have to just watch to see what kind of waves develop in this. This is the move that I think is going on here. I think we have this 1, 2, this extended wave 3, okay? And since this was a deep pullback, I'm expecting this to kind of, maybe, do a flat, kind of a chop sideways or something like that, somewhere between here and here, bottom, maybe bottom around here. But right now, it's definitely, all it's telling us is it's pulling back, which is what I expected. The last index we're going to take a look at is the Shanghai index. And remember I talked about, because of the wave count, this just looked like maybe we get one more real push to the upside, and now we're getting it. So, we had this big reversal bar, but it just looked like a fourth wave pullback. We're pushing up. I do think we're going to get, if it continues to push, I think you're going to run into resistance up here at these dotted lines. And where are these dotted lines? Dotted lines are coming from these points of resistance right here, which look to be fairly significant. And given the extended move that we're in right here, I would say that's a pretty good chance that you're not going to push above whatever this is, like 3150. Yeah, 3150. I would be shocked. I'd be surprised to see Shanghai Composite burst above 3150 before it corrects. Okay, so that's the indices. That's our little walk around the world. Let's take a look at BIDU. BIDU has continued to pull back. I think we've got 5 primary, intermediate, and minor waves up. I do think we're now correcting. It's continued to do that. This is exactly what I was expecting. I would not be surprised to see it break this trend line. Got the moving averages crossing. It's rolled over. It's trading below that 10-day, the blue line, the 10-day moving average. So we'll just have to, let's see, looking to see. Well, I tell you, it's got a lot of price action to correct. So we'll just have to watch and see. And again, once you get into corrective mode, it can get rather complex. Right now, the only signal that it's giving really is it's continuing to trend to the downside. The next one is CTRP. CTRP also is continuing to head to the downside. It does look like a big A, B, C corrective action going on. And it's correcting a wave move up from here, from July 31st, 2012. And where is that price? That is down around 13, and we're currently at 42. It made a move all the way to 70, 13 to 70. That's pretty nice. It looks like, 5 waves up. We're correcting back down. We could be close to the end of a correction in here. And the reason I say that, right now, again, you'd have to have a long-term perspective of maybe waiting in, et cetera, to jump in and buy when it's so strongly to the downside. This is really, really strong downtrend, okay? But when I look at the waves moves and corrective moves, this first move down and then back to the rally point, this wave equals this first move right in here around 40 and a quarter or so. That's pretty close to the low. The low is 40.74. So there's a really good chance that we may have reached. Now, sometimes this second leg down will go much beyond. It doesn't have to equal the first wave, but this is like a ballpark measure. So, we could be looking to see if there is some kind of bottoming action that starts to form down in here. It looks like it's trying to have a reversal bar today, but the trend is still to the downside. There's no closes above that blue line. You don't see anything turning up. Everything is hard down. Okay, and then the last one we're going to take a look at is SINA. SINA is basically it's like wallowing around near the bottom. I think it's trying to put in a bottom. It looks like there's some potential divergence here on RSI. DI minus, you got divergence here on DI minus. So we're starting to get some closes above the 10. But the same thing happened before. You know, closes above the 10 and then it just broke on down. But we'll just have to look to see, you know, watch for trend line breaks is my only thinking in here. So if we look at like a trend line in here, that could be a sign that we're starting to put in a little bit more of a bottom. But right now it's struggling to turn, but it's still trending to the downside. Lower lows, lower highs, all the way down. That's it for tonight on the 3 stocks. We're going to see what happens tomorrow on the market. Big move up. Oh, you know what? Let's go back to the market. I have one more thing I want to spend some time on. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this move in here. I want to look at the intraday chart, and here's what I want to look at. Here's a 30-day chart of the Dow Industrials. 30-minute chart of the Dow Industrials. Now, I showed this once before, and I said I thought there was a flat for a first move. I now am leaning towards the fact that I think we've got a first minute wave back here. I think we got 5 waves here. First minute wave back. This is the top on December 5th. Okay, so this is the entire sell-off since December 5th on a 30-minute chart. And, you know, so if you look at this, in here, this... You need 5 waves in here. This wave looks like a truncated fifth, and it shows up as a truncated fifth. Actually, you almost have to drill. You're talking about, where is that move? Oh, here it is. You're talking about this move right in here, this 5th move down. When you look at it in an even smaller time frame, this is a 10-minute chart. When you even go to a smaller time frame, you see 5 small waves in here, which makes me believe that this is a truncated 5th wave move, and we then got a 3-wave counter trend move back to the upside. Well, so we got a deep wave 2 back. We then got 3 waves down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 waves down, but the 3rd wave is what I'm trying to say. Then a 4th wave, which is shallower than the 2nd wave. So now I think this 3rd minute wave is complete right in here. Really, really sharp rally that we got. And so you would think, well, maybe this is the 4th wave. If we have 1, 2, 3, maybe this is the 4th wave. We're looking for 5 waves down, then you're going to start an ABC counter trend, potentially, okay? But we're only seeing 3 waves here. So because we're only seeing 3 waves before we started to rally, I'm like, this isn't a 5th wave. This isn't wave 5. It has to be 5 waves. So I'm really, really suspicious. And so now I'm thinking that we are doing a flat here, which is why it reinforces that if the 4th wave is a flat, which is where a flat usually occurs, okay, that reinforces why this should be more of a sharp pullback, okay, wave 2. So that makes me feel a lot more confident about the wave count of 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, 4. Okay. Now, this C wave has not come back to the beginning or the end of the A wave yet, but doesn't have to. When you move and look at that on the S&P 500, it has. It's gone beyond it, and actually it went exactly to the high right in here and then started to pull back. And when you look at the New York Composite, this move is 100% in terms of an ABC. So I am really, really suspicious right now. That's why I'm just kind of watching to see, are we about to get one more 5th wave push down to the downside? And if that's the case, I don't have that. Let's see, I didn't put that in here. I'm going to look at a projection. Because the 3rd wave extended and went 200% of wave 1, I'm going to go to the, actually that doesn't help me. Okay, so here I finally got it. I stretched it from the beginning all the way to the completion of the third wave, third minute wave. You take it back to the end of the fourth wave, assuming that the fourth wave is right about where I've got A, B, C, and that's the end of the fourth wave. Okay, and I've got the label over here. So if that's the case, then 100% moved would be down here. I don't think it's going to go that far. Let me put it in where okay, 61.8%. So if we get another leg move down, a fifth wave down, I think we're going to get down to 16,870. And where do we close today? 17,352. So we're talking about another 480 points to the downside for a fifth move down. So we'll see. That's what I'm looking for. We'll see if that plays out. And, this is the best wave count that I can, see. If you go to the flat, you have other complications because then you can't, I don't like to see two flats together. The corrective waves have a tendency to alternate in terms of waveform. So anyway, this ended up being longer than I thought, but I wanted to get this in. So this is it for tonight, for Wednesday night. We'll see what happens Thursday, Friday. We'll be back on Saturday for a weekend update. This has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Have a great Thursday, Friday, everyone.